This is Mark Bell from supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, answering more questions today for the Power Project, brought to you by howmuchyoubench.net and thepowermagazine.com. Speaking of thepowermagazine.com, I got a question off the Facebooks from a guy wanting to know about how Eric Spoto trains. Well, if you're a subscriber to Power Magazine, then you know that there's been 2 articles written on how Eric Spoto is able to be such a mutant and bench press 315 pounds for 62 reps, and he recently benched 700 pounds in a competition. Those of you that don't have the hard copies of the magazine, you can sign up for the digital issue, and you can check out, there's a 6-week program laid out by the Vanilla Gorilla himself, where he talks about, if you have a 315 max or so, he gives you a six-week training cycle to help get you up to around what he says will be around 340 pounds. So that's a pretty big improvement. But I think the guy knows a thing or two, and I think he knows what he's talking about when he's talking about bench press. In an interview that Stan Efferding did with Eric Spoto for Power Magazine, that was in the issue with Brad Gillingham on the cover, the May-June 2012 issue. Stan asked him a couple questions about what his training split is like and what's a typical bench session like for him. So I'll read that off to you a little bit. He does 135, 15 to 20 reps, 225 for 15 reps, 315 for 10, 405 for 6 to 10, 495 for 4 to 8 reps, 585 for 3 to 5. And then Stan says, hey, you know what, that's a lot of work. And Spoto says, not really, I'm just about halfway through my workout. This guy does a tremendous amount of work. That's something that's really important to realize. He also doesn't really max out in training. Doesn't really ever get to a full max. He actually kind of pre-fatigues himself through his warm-up and through utilizing a lot of repetitions and a ton of volume. So he doesn't really max out. He'll go to heavy sets of 3, heavy sets of 5, but he always leaves another rep in the tank and always looks like he could handle a little bit more. Then from one week to the next, he'll either add a rep or add a set or add bar weight or both. Just kind of depends on how he feels. Seems like he's a very intuitive lifter. Then after he does his heavy lifting, he always does some sort of high rep set. And from what he says here in the interview, he usually does about 1 to 3 sets of just going all out on repetitions, almost going to complete failure. When he reps them out, he doesn't do full range of motion. He just does a range of motion that's comfortable because he doesn't like to put too much stress on his shoulders and on his elbows. And so that answers your question about Eric Spoto. We got another announcement about the backyard meet of the century. We just added Vince Urbank to the roster. The guy with the biggest deadlift in the history of the United States, a 906-pound deadlift. So buckle up your chin strap. It's going to be an insane contest. You got probably 3 or 4 people, maybe 4 or 5 people deadlifting over 850 pounds in that meet. You got you got Baby Slayer, who successfully pulled 837. Dan Green has pulled 821. Jesse Burdick has pulled 810. Stan Efferding has deadlifted over 800 pounds. And the list goes on and on. You got Pete Rubish has deadlifted over 800 pounds. Eric Lillibridge has successfully deadlifted about 850 in the gym. You got his brother, Ernie Lillibridge, has successfully deadlifted 777. I think 800 pounds in the gym. We're very close to it now. And so there's going to be some enormous deadlifting going on at this meet. I'm looking forward to it. Also have Brent Willis, if I forgot to mention him. He successfully deadlifted 854 at the Olympia. So it could be a bunch of guys deadlifting not only over 800 pounds, but over 850 pounds November 3rd at my little rinky-dink backyard meet of the century at Super Training Gym. And that is it from supertraining.tv.